Well, hello, and welcome you to another exciting episode of Pens in Use. This week I'm a little bit late because, well, I waited till Friday again. This morning the neighbor across the street decided to hire we have a tree removal / trimming company in town right now. So neighbor across the street decided to remove his, and it was loud down here. So I thought, okay, I'll do it right after lunch. And then my neighbor next door decided to remove hers, and she even asked to use my yard as the staging area. So, yeah, I'm waiting until evening to film this, so here I am. But I've got quite a large group of pens for you, so let's dive into it. So if videos like this interest you, where I talk about fountain pens, both new and old and at all price points, I'd invite you to subscribe. And if you'd like to talk about any of the pens you see here, which a lot of them are Parker 51 related, which is an upcoming video. I can't tell you when yet, because I haven't scheduled it yet, but it's one of the ones I'm batch filming tonight. So let's dive into them. So the first pen is not a Parker 51. I run an Instagram channel, which I actually did post a little bit about this tree removal thing on Instagram. So I'll put a link to my Instagram down below. I do a weekly show on Instagram, so feel free to dive into that. This pen will be in that show. A vintage Aurora 88. Beside it, I have a Wing Sung 618. Beside that, the two pens, these two, are both Hero 616s, but there is some difference between them. One is the cheap version, one's the classy, expensive version. I have the real thing, a Parker 51. I have a Wing Sung 601. I have, this pen has been a bit of a deal. Since I've owned this pen, I've been posting it as a Wing Sung A698 because that's what I bought it under. But for reasons which I'll get to here in just a minute, it may actually be a Fuliwen 016. I have a Pelikan 016. No, I'm sorry, a Pelikan. Wow, that was stupid. Pelikan M200 and a Picasso. I don't really have a model number for you on the Picasso, but so these are the pens that I'm using this week. Like I said, in the summer I do a lot of batch filming of reviews so I can get ahead on my reviews so that during school I can focus more on school type stuff. So yeah, you're looking at a lot of the reviews you'll be seeing through this fall. So let's see how these write. As always, I'm going to write my Baum art journal. Alright, so the first pen is a vintage Aurora 88. It's kind of a neat little dealio. The ebonite here on the piston knob has faded a bit due to weather or whatever. The section is also ebonite, but that has not faded because it's sheltered by the cap. One of my, honestly, all-time favorite pens right here. In fact, I feel like I need to zoom out so you can see its full length. One of my all-time favorite pens right here. Semi-hooded nib. This is one of the pens that was inspired by the Parker 51. And I'd say in a number of ways exceeded the Parker 51. There are a few ways the Parker 51 is superior, but I like it. I did find recently a little figure that explains what this is. I will tell you why I haven't shared it here. I'm not sure of its how real it is, if it's a made-up deal or what. What you're looking at there, I'm gonna say, because it's kind of greenish, that's a flexibile and a fine, which definitely matches what I see on the paper. If I ever do find it from a reputable source, I'll definitely post a link. But like I said, wasn't a reputable source, so I wasn't comfortable sharing it yet. The ink I have in it is a nice one, especially we could use a summer storm right now. It's Robert Oster Summer Storm. If you happen to be on Instagram, you may have seen some photos of a shredder that was parked on my lawn by the tree removal company, and the lawn is looking decidedly brown right now. The next pen that I have is a Wing Sung 618. I'm not going to call this a Parker 51 lookalike, even though it's going to go in that video, mainly because Parker 51 didn't have a trim ring, and it wasn't a screw cap. But, you know, the whole idea of the nib and such is very similar to the Parker 51, so... Oh, and Parker 51s never came as piston fillers. This is a Wing Sung 618. I will just admit, I did not like this ink upstairs on the paper I was using it on up there, but on this notebook, damn, that's actually pretty nice ink. This is Organic Studio. So you know, your ink is always a magical combination of paper, pen, well, paper and pen. Whoops, and that's not how you spell Frank. Wow. A lot of factors go into an ink. This is a relatively good pen. It deserves a review, which it's one of my batch filmings for tonight. I'll just mention, I've had a little trouble up here on the piston. The barrel itself is cracked. So if I were to start unscrewing the piston, it's not going to lower this. Instead, I will literally unscrew the piston, which was not a problem until the cracks appeared. The next pen, which maybe you can tell from my misshapen arrow clip, is the cheap version of the Hero 616. Let's put cheap in parentheses so I remember for posterity which one. What makes it cheap? Well, it's a Parker 51 lookalike. I'm going to write with the expensive version next, but I just want you to look at this aerometric converter. If I so much as squeeze this, which I will actually do when I review it, or no, I did review this pen. I lie. I have reviewed this pen. This bends. When the expensive one does not bend. Nice thing it has that the real 51 does not have is a slight ink window. The ink in it is a sample that was sent to me by a viewer. Faber Castell, which is an ink brand I honestly know nothing about. I know they make pens because I once reviewed a Faber Castell Ondoro, which I have since sold. Red 187. This is an expensive Hero 616. Outside, it doesn't look very different, except the clip is a little bit better made. Also, if you look at the jewel on the caps, the expensive one is larger, and generally it is centered. And it doesn't want to write. There we go. Hero 616. This is actually a very nice pen to write with. It's not as scratchy. So I think Hero spent more money on the nib, as well as I'll show you the filler here in a second. This is Organics Studio. And this is an ink that definitely changes color as it dries. Ralph Waldo. My English teacher viewers can probably appreciate the name of this ink. So when I look at the mechanism, it is a much tougher metal. It does not bend if you squeeze it. And generally, this actually fills when I squeeze this. Honestly, to fill the other pen, I pulled this whole mechanism off and just squeezed the sack inside. Oh, and I see a little bit of sheen. I don't know if that's going to show up down here. This lighting is not the best for showing off sheen. I tried. But yeah, I definitely see it in this light. Holy cow, I am blown away. I did not expect that. Kind of a reddish sheen. Wow. All right, this is the real thing. This is a real Hero. Wow, a real Parker 51. Here's the fake Parker 51. Look a lot alike, but the Parker is heavier. It also, says Parker on it, which is a difference. Has a actual jewel type thing. No ink window. Has more of a clutch type mechanism to hold the cap in place. And obviously the expensive version of the aerometric. This ink originally went on not quite as dark. So I think it is getting a little oxidized, even though the pen does keep it from getting dried out. Here's another Parker 51 clone. This one has a bit of a jewel in the cap. This one is a draw filler. Now the same model pen came in an aerometric for a little while. The aerometric, I don't know if it's been discontinued, but I wasn't able to buy one. I tried, this pen right here was supposed to be in one of the last aerometrics, because I was going to use it when I reviewed the Parker vacuum. Did I say aerometric? I meant vacuumatic. I was going to use it to demonstrate how the vacuumatic works when I reviewed my Parker vacuumatic, but I got a draw filler instead, which is just literally a piston that goes up and down here you have a feeder tube and such that pulls the ink up and fills the pen, which is a very good system. I just, I bought a draw filler of this for other reasons, so that was a little sad, but whatever. I filmed the vacuumatic review, so the moment is past. The vacuumatic review will appear sometime this fall. This ink, I don't usually go for brown inks, but this was a sample that was sent to me by a viewer, so I thought I'd try it out. And, if we're going to go with inks, we might as well go with a scientist, good old Jonas Salk of polio vaccine fame. I misspelled Umber. All right, this next pen, I had a comment last week that's saying I had misnamed it, and my first reaction was, no, because that's the name it was bought under. I purchased this as a Wing Sung A698 on eBay, and to this day, if you search on eBay for a Wing Sung A698, you will get this pen. It's a faceted, rather attractive acrylic. It's kind of like, this pen is not inked up, but the platinum celluloid, the koi finish, except I'd say that the koi is more dramatic. All right, but this viewer said, no, that you're wrong. That is not a Wing Sung A698. I don't care what your seller said. It's not. Check out the finial. Okay, come on, autofocus. So I always did kind of wonder why there was an F on the finial. And this viewer said, well, that's because it is a Fuliwen 016. And I did some research. I found it on Frank Underwater's blog that, yeah, it's a Fuliwen 016. So even though for the year or so that I've owned this pen, I've been calling it a Wing Sung, I had to agree. Even though, I'm not going to blame myself, I typically maybe I should question it, but I don't typically question when I buy a pen whether I've got the correct name. If the seller is selling it under a specific name, but I'm pretty sure the seller got it wrong. There is a possibility that this pen is actually sold under both names, and same pen sold by two companies, but well, I don't know. I don't know why it is sold by some companies as a Wing Sung A698. I've actually reviewed a real Wing Sung 698, and it is a pen that's absolutely nothing like this. So I don't have anything intelligent as an explanation. All right, so this is Noodler's Blue Nose Bear. What this ink is supposed to do is feather with a really bright blue and then leave a very dark center. There isn't much paper where it actually does that. And I don't care if I use a broad nib or a fine nib or a medium nib, it just doesn't seem to do that, so that's a letdown. Okay, my penultimate pen is a Pelikan M200 fine. I last reviewed this back in 2014. This is going to be one of my Survivor Pens series. This will probably be the only time it appears in Survivor Pens because I have somebody interested in it, and it's an okay pen, but I'm honestly not interested in it. I'm more interested in reducing the size of my collection, so I will probably be getting rid of it with that person. I sat on this pen for a long time because I felt bad getting rid of it, just because it is a nice pen. I just finally realized, no, there are other pens you like better. So the ink in it is KWZ Iron Gall Mandarin. So look forward to seeing this one in one final review sometime this fall, and probably never again. It's a well-made pen. The nib is very nice. It's just, like I said, there are other pens I like better. And let's just be honest, you haven't seen too many of them tonight. Most of these pens, except probably the Aurora 88 and the Parker 51, will not make it into any Survivor Pens episodes. This last one is, again, a nice pen. It's a Picasso. I filmed a review of it. It's another one that will appear this fall. Has a... well, it's supposed to be a woman. Same thing appears on the nib. It's a nice enough pen. It just... even among my Chinese pens, this is just one that fails to excite. I will say, in a slight defense, I do like the ink. This is Kyo-no-oto. Hisoku, which is very attractive, and I reviewed that series of inks about a year ago. Oh no, it was last summer, so I guess yeah, about a year ago. Sorry, I needed a glass of water there. I didn't own this one at that time. It's a new color since then, at least to me. So those are the pens that I'm using this week. Nothing too exciting. I just one of the annoying things that I do in the summer, or at least annoying to me, is I like to batch film a bunch of reviews so that I'm ready for school, and the most I have to do is edit a review together, and the footage is already taken. And sometimes that means a bunch of pens maybe wouldn't have been my first choice. That said, you saw a couple really good pens tonight. That Aurora 88, if you're looking for a vintage pen, that's at the top of my list of pens I would recommend. And yes, I know I just recently did a Parker Slim Fold that I said was a great sleeper. The Aurora 88 is another good one. You can still get them at fairly low cost. and some of them have some really spectacular nibs. Parker 51, if you're into that kind of thing, is actually a pretty decent pen. It's not one of my favorites, but I'll probably keep this one just because because of the history. Look forward to a review. If you follow me elsewhere on social media, I'm not very active on social media the way a good YouTube channel should be. I have an Instagram account. I have been doing IGTV videos. This week, the IGTV video is going to be Parker 51 versus the Aurora 88. What did I do last week? Did I do dual folds? I think I did Parker dual folds. I just do, instead of really reviews, I did one review, but instead of reviews, it's more like throw some pens together and see how they compare. Out of all this, you can expect some reviews of the pens here that have not been reviewed yet. Also, you can expect a review of the Parker 51 knockoffs. And I hate the word knockoff because it seems to apply specifically to pens from one country, even though there may be knockoffs from other countries. But we'll let that go and avoid that issue, because I want to actually look at how do they improve on or detract from the original, rather than rage about what is a knockoff and what isn't a knockoff. And if you're interested, hey, I did a video on knockoff pens and gave you a more full-bodied view of it. I'm sorry, I am tired. I was going to film this morning, and like I said, thank you, tree removal folks. Even down here in the basement, you could hear them. So, thank you for watching. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.